My name is Robert Greene, and I directed Bisbee 17. Bisbee 17 is about the 100th anniversary of the Bisbee deportation, where 1,200 striking miners were forcibly removed at gunpoint by their neighbors out of town. They had gone on strike in a mining town, Bisbee, Arizona. They sort of had been radicalized by the IWW, which created a big rift in town. And what we did was went back to the town for the 100th anniversary and restaged this with locals, and the locals have many different sort of connections to that long buried history. So this scene is basically the climax of the film, the large-scale performance piece of the Bisbee deportation that we filmed on the exact 100th anniversary of the event itself. If you Google Bisbee deportation, there's all these amazing photographs, and those photographs are weirdly serene and calm. That was my original idea, was that these are going to be static and strange and weird. And I said action, and then people went at each other, so much so that we had to calm them down at points. Really what that scene ultimately is about is trying to create maximum amount of tension and then undercutting that tension and giving context to that tension. Because the last thing we wanted to do was fetishize the violence of that day. So how do you do that? To me, it was a matter of bringing the sort of wave of emotion to a peak and then undercutting it. Fernando is being dragged down the street. In order to undercut what that fetishizing of that image is and what that means today, you have to see our cameras and how we're complicit. We're creating that image. So seeing the cameras is one way. Seeing the crowd look on in bemusement is another way. Getting to the maximum peak, loud, screaming, emotional, and then cut to Mel in his bodega just giving an interview, and then all of a sudden he gets ripped out and it all starts back up again. What did I do? No. So it was all about peak and then undercut, peak and then undercut. I wanted you to be intensely emotional about seeing this happen. The past has to feel real and alive. It has to mean something that 1,200 people are about to get deported. But the present, you also have to think, there's a camera crew here, and there's real consequences in this town, and there's a whole other layer of performance and trauma being worked through, historical trauma, personal, political opinions being worked through, all of it. When I watch the final scenes of the movie, even today, I get really moved, because that wasn't us with some grand design. That wasn't like, we're so smart, we can figure out, how to make it seem like people are coming together. That was actually a town coming together to do something that was bigger than us. We happened to light the match, but the fire was them. I hope at the end of the film, or at the end of that scene especially, you're really in tune with what it meant for us to do it, what it meant for the townspeople to do it, and what it meant to try to bring these ghosts back up again.